This is a story of Rabbi Oshry. He was a rabbi who survived the Holocaust in Kovno ghetto in Lithuania. It's a remarkable story. He was a rabbi and he had access to books. Apparently he was overseeing a collection of books, Jewish books, that the Nazis wanted to eventually, after they killed the Jews, to show off as replicas of Jewish culture. So he had access to books, Sfarim, and he was asked questions in the ghetto, and he answered them. He recorded them, wrote them down himself, and toward the end of his time in the ghetto, when it was like he saw that things were getting really bad, he buried them, the stuff that he wrote, underneath in the concentration camp. And with the hope and the faith that he's going to come back and be able to retrieve it. And he was able to. He survived. He saw his family get killed, his wife, his children. He survived, and eventually he went back, uncovered them, and several years later he put out a book. It's called Responsa from the Depths, Tshuva Mimam Hakim. So that book is like multiple volumes in Hebrew. It was translated to English, and I have the translation here. It's a kind of more of a shortened version. For a while, I never had access to this book. There's a few excerpts online on the Chabad website, but I didn't have access to it because it's expensive. It's like $100 or more, this book. And so I shared once in one of my classes, this book's an amazing book. I definitely can't afford it. And the next class or two after that, somebody came and they purchased it for me. That's how I have that. So now I can share that with you. There are three questions and answers I want to share with you, not very kind of briefly. The first question is, somebody was in the ghetto, and these are all connected to kind of Passover and slavery, because we're coming out of that now. So somebody was in the ghetto, and his name is Avram Yosef, and he said, how can I make the blessing, Shelo Asani Avad, who has not made me a slave? He used to cry out in the ghetto. He used to say, how can I recite it? How can a hungry slave, constantly abused and demeaned, praise his creator by uttering, who has not made me a slave? That was his question. And then others kind of spread this message, and others started to ask, really, Rabbi, do we have to make this bracha at all, this blessing at all? We make this every morning. Do I have to make this? We're all slaves. So he answered, he says, yes, you do. He goes, we may not skip it. On the contrary, it's because he says, it was decreed not based on your physical captivity. It's talking about your spirituality. And we are liberated spiritually. He says, even the more so. Despite our physical captivity, we are more obligated than ever to recite the blessing, to show our enemies that as a people we were spiritually free. And they can't take our souls from us. So he said we should continue to make that bracha. So these two other tshuvas kind of hint to this idea of being spiritually free, or kind of yearning for deep spiritual connection in the ghetto. One of them was, there was a group who they didn't have wine in the Kovno ghetto, and they asked Rabbi Oshry, what do they do? So he says, what do you have any for the 4 cups? What do you do for the 4 cups? So he goes, you have any type of liquid, any drinks? And they had tea that they sweetened with saccharin. So he says you could do the 4 cups on tea, because that's like a popular drink. And he gave them some guidance on how to do that. You only make a bracha on the first one and the third one. And then he says, in order to inspire Jews with hope that the redemption was not far off, and to fulfill the requirement of the halacha, my students made the tea available to as many people as possible. So in the ghetto, they're getting tea together, so they can they can do the 4 cups in the ghetto. They don't want to give up on that mitzvah. It shows the strength of their soul, even when they were in the midst of the dark moments there. Final question was about Chametz. No, there are a lot of questions. The final question I'm quoting. It's 1943. There was a group in the Kovno ghetto called the El Tenrat, meaning there were elders who they were the chametz, the bread that they were supposed to ration out to the Jews, were given to this group, the Jewish group, for 2 weeks at a time. Not a lot, obviously. And Passover was coming. They wanted to know what they should do with the bread. I guess they had enough to make it through Passover. So that bread that was going to make it through Passover, what should they do? How should they get rid of it? What's the problem? They're not going to burn it. They're not going to destroy it. They need it. So maybe they could sell it. Who are they going to sell it to? They weren't allowed to talk to non-Jews. It would get punished for that. Obviously not going to sell it to a non-Jewish guard. So what do? They asked him. Number 2, if they don't sell it, chametz after Passover that wasn't sold, if you owned it, you can't benefit from it afterwards. So they asked him the question. And he said, number 1, this chametz was never really in your possession. So because the guards can come at any time and take it from you. And the truth is, if you steal and take it to yourself, and you don't give it out the way that they want, you'll get killed or punished. So it's because you never really owned it, it's like it was never yours in the first place, so you can benefit from it after Passover because you never owned it during Passover. And he said also regarding Passover itself, what do? If you do consider it yours, he says you can nullify it in your heart. According to the rabbis, it's not enough. You need to nullify it and remove it. But according to the Torah, it's enough to nullify. And he said based on that and based on the idea that they will come any moment and take it, that would suffice to enable you to have it after Passover and nullify it during Passover. So there's some halachic questions that were asked during the Holocaust. It's just beautiful. When you read this book, it's a lot of inspiration here that the Jews, all that they went through, they fought so hard to uphold tradition, to continue all the customs, and it could be great inspiration for us today. We have so many luxuries and so much goodness all around us, for us to keep upholding it in the best way possible for the next generation.